Good morning. Today our hand's going to be pocket eights. We are under the gun. We open raise and we get called by another early position player. He is currently playing 12-12. It's only over 17 hands. Notes that we have, we do have a 3-bet range, so it looks like king aces and ace king suited. That's going to help us. So my range is pretty standard, early position. We've seen it. This guy, I'm going to give him about 8.75%. I'm going to assume he 3-bets with queens plus ace king. We know he's 3-bet with aces and ace king. And I think that was ace king suited. We know if 3-bets with those two. I'm going to assume he 3-bets with some of the other ones. We just don't have a huge number of hands. But I'm going to give him these pocket pairs. I don't think I'm going to go all the way down. Maybe actually just do fives plus. Fives to jacks. Some suited connectors, these suited Broadway. Suited connectors are questionable whether he has them. Maybe it's just going to be Broadway and some of these pocket pairs. That's probably the better one here. Something like that. That's probably a better range. Everyone else folds, so we take a flop of 10-6-5 with 2 spades. And I think based on the ranges that we're doing, we probably should be betting this. Villain has pocket pairs. Actually, he has a lot of pocket pairs. These under pairs, 7s, 8s, 9s. That's where we're at. He doesn't really have a huge number of hands. I guess I should take that back. He has a lot. The big chunk of his hand are these no-made hands up here. No pairs, just overcards. It's over 53%. And I wonder if I bet if he's going to fold those. We don't know what his fold to c-bet stat is. Obviously, we want to try to buy equity. We don't want to see a jack, a queen, a king, or an ace come. Yeah, those hands could be in our range too. But with our eights, we don't really want to see them see that type of turn card, because if we bet, it's gonna be likely that we get called. So I kind of feel like we should be c-betting here, c-betting in this spot. We have backdoor draws. I think we would c-bet. I guess we could start with, what else do we c-bet? We could c-bet our sets. We could c-bet our overpair. We could c-bet our top pair. And then, if you include those pocket pair less than the top card as draws, then you're also throwing in some flush draws, your gut shots. And then kind of look at, take those out. Maybe like the 2-card backdoor flush draws. Something like that. Just because villain has got a tighter range. I think usually when you're out of position on a board like this, you tend to check. This is just like a 10 rag. So I think we can have a betting range here. And maybe my betting range is too wide. Maybe instead we're going to go for a set. Maybe a set of 6s is what we bet, but we check the 10s. Actually, let's work through that. We bet our set of 6s, but not the 10s. We don't really have a 2-pair. Our overpairs, we can check aces, and I think we can check kings. Can we? Yeah, I think so. I think we check aces and we check kings, because if like a jack, a queen, or a king falls, we may be getting paid off with those hands. Whereas with jacks and queens, we don't really want to see ace or king come out. Jack or queen would be good, but I think we have increased chances of being drawn out on with the jack and a queen. And actually, the queen might be like a half and half. Our top pair hand, I think we can check like ace 10 and king 10, and then like queen 10, 10 9. and Jack 10 are checks. And that means then we're probably checking these, all of these. All of the middle cards, all of the bottom pairs. Actually, the bottom pair could be used as a bluff. I think that's probably what we would do. It's probably used as a bluffing range, since we have that. And I think the flush is probably going to be part of our bluffing range here. We don't have a huge number of hands. So then a gut shot maybe could be check. I think check calls could be a 2-card backdoor flush draw. So let's see what happens. I did check, and then he bet. So that's going to come back. So these were hands that we were going to check call. And then flush draw. Yep, we're not going to do those. Gut shots, we're not going to do those. I think the 2-card backdoor flush draws are going to be some of the calls. So I think we're going any of these 2 overs with the backdoor flush draw. I think we're going to go with those. Probably ace 9, 9-8. That's part of our gut shot. Now we're kind of betting those, so I think maybe just those. So I think that's we had our check calling, and that's kind of gives us a more balanced range against a thinking opponent. So what is he betting? I'm going to say since we checked, he's betting all of these hands here. These pocket pair below the top card, everything above it, and flush draw. And when it comes to overcards, I'm going to say like ace queen, ace jack, maybe even king queen, something like that. He's just going to attack because, again, this board isn't necessarily going to look like it hits us. If we bet and we get raised, I think because we made our betting range so strong, I think we are probably calling with everything except like the ace 5. Part of our bluff, and probably the gut shots. Probably getting rid of those. All right, so I've got mine. I've got his, I've got mine. We go to the turn. It's 8. Does the bet sizing say anything? This is actually a smaller size. This is, closer to that 1/3 bet size. I think he's betting just, take a stab, low risk with that bet size. 8 of spades comes out. If I was behind, that was useful. I think now I think we still just check. The spade doesn't work, and that's kind of the issue with that. If we were going to do like a check raise, we could do it with like a spade, maybe. I don't think we're going to have a huge number of check raises, but I do think we check here. I think we check everything. I don't think we take a stab at the pot. Villain bets 4.2, which is again maybe a third, more than a third. It's more than a third, so maybe like 40%. That is, if you notice, that's he bet 2.2, and now he's betting 4.4 or 4.2. I think now he's probably still betting the top pair plus. I don't think he's going to go with some of our draws. Maybe he has an open-ender that he's still betting. I kind of feel like once that spade gets there, he's going to really slow down. So I think top pair plus, and then like maybe the nut flush draw, like with ace queen, he's still going to bet. I'm not sure if he's going to do like king queen, with the second nut. But do I think he's going to do all top pairs? No, I don't think. I don't think Jack 10 is going to continue betting. Maybe ace 10. I do think over pair sets flushes are going to be betting here. Maybe 9s. That's a gut shot still. He didn't bet overly large, and he did size up a little bit. Now, I think we'll keep that as is. So I do call. I think when we check called, we had our checking range. I do think we check call top pair, everything, and we are getting the odds to chase the nut flush draws. I think we may be able to do the gut shot calls. I think we could call and then see what he does. It was 4, 16. Yeah, so about 4 to 1. Be like 20%, 21%. If he doesn't have the spade, we may be that. We may be at that level, but it's gonna be hard to say if our straight is good. If we catch, I think it's probably just to go kind of restrict top pair plus, so something like that. River's queen of clubs. With how he played, question is he gonna bet again? How much is he gonna bet, and do we call? If he bets again, I think it's kind of going to be hard for us to call with our 10-9 and Jack-10. He's just kind of betting that I mean, 3 bets in a row kind of suggests maybe he has that 10. We are, I think, going to be checking those, but the question is, can we get some value with our set or a 2 pair? Now that we've connected, if we bet, do we get called, or are we always getting called by a flush and never by any of these other ones? I think what we're looking for is kind of targeting these top pair, pocket pair, middle pair. Would he bet these, or would he check them on the river? If we think he's going to check these, then if we think he's going to check these but call, if I bet, then I think we bet. And I think we bet for try to get some value. Yes, we're going to get called. We're going to get beat somewhat. Actually, no, probably not. I'm going to reverse that. As we look at the breakdown, we're going to color code it. We beat 39%. We lose the 60. So if this is his breakdown, he's going to call with all of these hands. If he calls, we're losing 60% with our set. Take that back. It's we beat 5s and 6s. That's better. With our 8s, we beat 5s and 6s. So yeah, now that we have 60% of the calling hands are hands that we beat. Now it might make sense to go ahead and bet. And especially if you have this huge chunk that'll just check behind and take a free showdown, then maybe we do lead. And I just don't know. My guess is he probably would check those now that the queen would come out. Would he necessarily call with all of them? I mean, ace-10 is going to be the middle pair. I kind of do think he would. So maybe our play is to go ahead and bet. And our bet in this case would be to bet the sets, not to 2 pair. And I don't even think all of the sets. I think 8s would be the minimum. And that's based on our range here, where we said if we had 6, then it's 50-50. It doesn't really matter one way or the other. But if we have 6, we drop these down significantly. So maybe we're still ahead. It leans more towards 10s and 8s at that point. So yeah, it's yeah, I guess so. We still have it. Maybe we do 6s. Yeah, maybe we just do all sets. So we bet there. Did I do that? I didn't. I checked. And again, there's probably nothing wrong with it. if we think villain's gonna bet. He didn't bet, so I think right there we can eliminate flushes. Maybe the sets. Maybe he's scared, but checked. We see a showdown. He shows ace 10. That was that. We had that. That's that middle pair, ace 10 suited. It's a small set. I mean, it really is a small part of his range. He just happened to have that. Did we lose some value? Yeah, I think we lost some value on that river. I think if we bet, he probably calls. We can't bet a lot. I bet if we go ahead and bet half pot, he's gonna call. And we get an extra 10. We get an extra 10. All right, so I went ahead and ran this in GTO, just check. We got our ranges set up. So our first decision is check or bet, and it looks like we're betting about 36% of the time. We are betting our sets. We're betting both of them, but because we mix in some checks a few times with both of them. But we're betting our sets. We're betting some of our overpairs. It's a more of a mixed strategy. We're not like picking aces and kings and checking those, but betting queens and jacks. So we're still doing a mixed strategy, and we're doing some of our top pairs. Definitely, you could say ace 10 is more likely to bet here, and some of the 10-9 and jack 10s. Queen 10 isn't, which is kind of interesting. But all the other ones is just minor. We're really, checking a lot of these. Some of the flush draws we're betting, so like queen jack, king jack. So my guess is I probably had a few more bets in our range than what we needed. But we checked, and villain bet. Villain's supposed to be betting all of these with his range. We knew what he had with that ace 10, so it's definitely there. Once he bets, what do we call with? Actually, I was curious, what do we check raise with? Well, we do have some 10s and some 6s that we checked. So we're going to check raise with some of those. We're going to check raise with ace 5 as a bluff, especially if we don't have a heart. We've got some equity with drawing to that heart. Probably benefits us to just like check raise and get the fold here. But for the most part, we would be calling with our hand, so that was good. 8 of spades came out, so I was right. We do check. Villain's going to be betting again on this board. And notably, this is the other thing that I was wondering about. Do we check raise at any point? And we didn't address it. I didn't really think so because the spade was out there. There are hands that we do check raise with, and those are like, we've got like the ace 9 of spades. We got the flush. We block, 10-9. We block 10-9, so that could leave more hands in villain's range that he could possibly call with. We've got some eights, some ace queen with the ace of spades and queen of spades. Not much, so it really looks like we are calling mostly. And then the next question I had was, should we lead the river? And the idea was that I could lead the river if we think he's going to call. Well, we assume we're not. GTO doesn't have his lead because we assume that villains. I bet if we bet, he's probably not going to be calling with a whole lot of those. So we're looking at like these hands that we expect him to call. And GTO has him folding some of those hands if we were to bet. So it's arguing for us to check, and then he should be betting. He didn't. He should be betting with a lot of hands. So if he bets, do we call with the eights? Yeah, we're calling with the set. We do have some trips that we raise with, so we're raising with flushes and sets, but in some sets, but not a whole lot. Not a whole lot. We're kind of check calling here. We're relying on villain to do our betting for us, and when he bets, yeah, he's got all of these sets, and that's why we're calling with our eights in this case. And we're raising with the queens because villains. We beat the 5s, we beat the 6s. He's got 7s there. It's kind of like his bluffing range, the weak pair. He's got those. Top pair. You know, with the queen, he's got just a few of those, but I think it's because of those sets. So overall, I think our check play was okay. I think everything up to the river, I'm not 100% convinced with the river, with his river call. I bet if we change it and say that if we bet he calls with all of those middle pairs, then maybe that this becomes a bet. So, all right, hopefully you enjoy this hand. If you do, look tomorrow for another one.